Nigeria's federal government says it will prioritize all sectors of the Nigerian economy in a bid to strengthen the economy. This was revealed at a town hall meeting organized by the Center for Democracy and Development in Abuja, the nation's capital. 5 ministers were present at the inaugural Buhari Meter town hall meeting. Nigeria's Information Minister Lai Mohammed, Babatunde Fashola, who is the Minister of Power Works and Housing, Audu Ogbe, who is the Minister of Agriculture, Amina Mohammed, who is the Minister of Environment, and Udo Udoma, who is the Minister of Budget and National Planning.
By that singular action of going after corruption, of tightening controls, of having a zero tolerance for corruption, we have actually slowed the growth, slowed the decline of the economy by that action. And sometimes people don't appreciate the full consequence and impact of that action. But that isn't sufficient. Even if we stop all corruption in Nigeria, we will not solve our economic problems. So we need to do more, much more. We were advised and we looked at it and we agreed that the main thing we must do straight away is to reflate the economy by having an expansionary budget. And so the 2016 budget was crafted in that way. It was crafted as an expansionary budget so that we would move from the, we allocated 500 billion last year for capital, and we managed to take it up this year to 1.8 trillion.
The first thing that we did in the regulatory environment was actually to sign in the 2016 environmental sanitation regulations, which actually give guidelines now to us and to states so that we can begin to enforce them and clean up our environment. We also inaugurated a high-level ministerial platform on the INDCs, which is Nigeria's response to what we will do for climate change. I think this is important because we're not doing it alone, we're doing it with other sectors. Environment doesn't have to have money to do renewable energy. The Minister of Power is here. Environment doesn't have to have the money to do smart agriculture. That's what I need to inform the Minister of Agriculture to do. So these collaborative meetings are important to what we do in terms of strengthening and being more efficient with the resources that we have. You saw last week that we launched the Ogoni cleanup. This is something that has been on the table for years. Attempts to make it a reality have not come to fruition, and that's one campaign promise that was brought to fruition within the year. And we hope now to be challenged to that implementation, which has the same issues that we talk about now of security, of corruption, and how to cut through that to make sure that we deliver to the women and the people of Ogoni land.
Yes, there is no power, but it does not mean that there is no capacity to produce some power. We reached a milestone of 5,000 megawatts in February this year. But when globally people are being trained about how to produce energy, I don't know in any part of the curriculum in the world where they teach them vandalization as part of the curriculum for producing electricity. You see, these are behaviors that I think that all of us, yes, it is government's responsibility to provide security, but when you have some idea of how extensive the pipeline network is and how compulsorily they must pass through our land, the choice must become ours whether we want to take collective ownership of the assets that serve us, or whether we would allow some people who, in the name of fighting for us, inflict more pain on us. But I don't know a country that wants to have electricity that breaks its own pipelines. I don't know any. Just yesterday in council, the Minister for Transportation was briefing us about people who have started going to remove bolts and nuts from tracks that have been laid for rail. So, again, we must provide police to provide, I mean, it just stretches the network. So, every time we point one finger, let us also look in the mirror at ourselves. There is need for some reorientation, and when it is said that this is not a responsibility of government alone, it is because this is a commonwealth, and therefore it must be built by common contribution.
Boko Haram is not about religion. Boko Haram is more about politics, more about, a group of people trying to impose their views on us. But then Boko Haram has been able to thrive largely because of poverty, ignorance, bad government. But more importantly, we have not been able also to properly situate the large contribution of climate change to the insecurity we have today, not just in the north, but in the entire Lake Chad basin. Lake Chad basin supports 20 million people in 7 countries. Lake Chad used to have 15,000 square kilometers of water. Today, that has reduced to under 500 square kilometers of water. What that means in effect is that 20 million people who had been depending on the Lake Chad for their sustenance, for agriculture, for fishing, have been dislodged. And it's sad that the Lake Chad crisis is one of the most underreported humanitarian crises in the world. Because today, we have about, over the entire Lake Chad, over 2 million refugees. And this is creating a lot of humanitarian crisis, and it leads also is linked to insecurity. And then we have also not factored in the population explosion. The population explosion in Nigeria is such that if we don't really address the issue, it's even more of a time bomb than religious fanaticism.